But I went into it open-minded, and it actually turned out to be groundbreaking. Not to be dramatic, but it turned out to be amazing. This 1 hour session made me realize my biggest problem that I couldn't, for some reason, realize for so long. Hello YouTube, how are you all doing? So I have this same view here, but post-sunset kind of vibe, and it's got me reflecting, you know, as sunsets kind of do. It's not golden hour, but still a reflective hour. And I thought it would be a great time to make a video. So today's video is going to be about vision and how it's amazing, how it's valuable, but how it can be clouding and how to get past that. Because I experienced it and I want to share. So let's get right into it. All right, so for most of you that know me, even at the surface, you know that I'm a very strategic guy. I'm very high level. I love working on big problems, challenges, or taking on big projects where the impact can be long-term, where the impact can be very high level and strategic, and where I don't necessarily get involved in the concrete sort of step-by-step tasks that need to get done to get to that impact. A lot of that involves teamwork. A lot of it involves, again, long-term planning and patience and sustained efforts and works towards something. That's just the way I am in most of my work endeavors. Now, obviously, being an entrepreneur and having a lot of these side hustles and businesses on the side, I need to do these tasks, right? Sometimes, like, I can't just always be high-level thinker, no actual work. But in most work that I do, I tend to love that strategy side of things. And that's great, right? It has a lot of benefits. Having a vision, a concrete long-term vision, can be extremely beneficial, if not required, for groundbreaking or very impactful work or projects in almost any part of your life. And so it's very important to take a step back, in my opinion, again, in almost any part of your life, but especially in business and work, and just remember what you're working towards, how it can have impact, and who you're impacting, or what you're trying to change or achieve. So that said, because this part's really important to me because I love this so much, right? Like, this is what I live for. That said, there are downsides to being so, I don't want to say visionary because visionary is a strong word, but to being so high level, to being so strategic. And one downside that I've experienced recently is that it can hinder you from actually achieving your vision if you focus too much on that end vision, high level strategy early on. And here's a quick story about how it, happened to me, and kind of how I got over it, because that's how most of these videos seem to be, right? Me reflecting on something I did wrong, so you don't have to do it wrong. But what happened is, one of my core businesses, the one sort of that I put a lot of time and effort in, and that I work a lot on, and that's a big part of my portfolio of time spent on things. One of my core businesses is my creative agency. It's Nab Design. And Nab Design has evolved so much over the years. It started out in 2015, being just me going on Kijiji, which is a classified site, and putting up a, hey, I do websites, hit me up, I'll do a website for you. And I did sites for way too cheap at the time. That's how it started. It evolved into me doing video projects, graphic design, marketing, digital marketing, ads, Facebook ads and all that. And then it funneled down again. At some points I niched into certain industries, at some points I expanded, but what it's always been about is rendering creative experiences accessible. And that's always been my vision for it, right? And I won't go more into detail about my agency itself because this isn't a promo, this is a video about a specific thing. But the idea with this, start and telling you this, is that I've always had a huge vision for Nab Design, for this specific business that I work on. I've always wanted it to be this agency that integrates a lot of creative services to achieve a very specific thing. That's always been my vision and my long-term goal for this agency. What I've realized at some point during the years is that this vision, albeit in my opinion, and how the market's reacted to the vision and how my clients have reacted to the vision, albeit extremely valuable and innovative in some ways and very, filling a gap in the market. So, albeit amazing, this vision had clouded my steps and had inhibited me from actually achieving it at some point, because I was so focused on that high level, big picture end goal that I didn't actually carefully work towards it in the immediate future, in the now and the next. So let me tell you about how that happened. So I hit a point at one year recently. I think it was Q1 of a year. It was a great new year. I was like, let's increase our clients. Let's do well, as you do for an agency. And I hit a roadblock. I wasn't finding any more clients. I felt like my message was resonating, but it wasn't converting. And I just didn't know what to do. I hope the music isn't too loud. But yeah, I didn't know what to do. And so I won't go into detail, but I ended up meeting a business coach in a program that I did. And the thing with business coaches is, this is going to be a whole other video, but the thing with business coaches is I never had one at the time. I still don't have one regularly, but I was offered this session with a business coach, this hour session. I was very skeptical about what it could do for me. I always value external perspectives, so I was excited to have someone speak about my business to me directly and only focus on that for a while. That was exciting. I was like, okay, maybe I can get like an external perspective, fix my problem right now, get me more clients. But I was also skeptical because I'm the only one that knows my business so well. What value can someone external bring me other than just being a new perspective, right? But I went into it open-minded, as you should if you ever get that opportunity. And it actually turned out to be groundbreaking. Not to be dramatic, but it turned out to be amazing, because this 1 hour session made me realize my biggest problem that I couldn't, for some reason, realize for so long. And it didn't take it, I loved the session, the business coach was great, but she wasn't a genius. It didn't take a genius to make me realize this. It just took someone external to lay it on me. And that was when I realized, my end vision was, I was so focused in on that. I loved that so much that it actually stopped me from achieving it, because I was too focused on the long term and where I wanted to get to, that in the short term, the steps I was taking to get there weren't realistic. And I'll put this in the simplest ways for you. The way I was approaching my business was as if I was the creative digital agency of the world. I was approaching my messaging in the sense that I was, all of this and that. I was telling people I'm an expert at videography, photography, web design, graphic design, Facebook ads. And I'm very skilled at all of those things. My employees were very skilled at all of those things. My client work showed great promise for results you could get through the agency for all those things. But I had this, I needed that coach to tell me to reflect on this. I wasn't an agency for all those things. The bread and butter of my agency up until that point was web design. And that was the 90% plus case of my past client work had been web design. Yet I was out here branding myself as and the video cut out, and I realized that the sun setting has changed. What I was saying was I was branding myself as the agency that did it so well that you could entrust us with all these services. And that was true to some extent, but the reason it wasn't resonating is because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't at that point where I could comfortably say all these things about my agency. I wasn't at that point where I had achieved that much of that vision I had set out to achieve with this agency. But my mind was there. And so that created a disconnect between what I should be doing to get to the goal and what my mindset was and how that translated into what I was doing. And that was a problem. And so what I did after that is I sat down after the coaches gave me the advice and made me realize that. I sat down and I wrote down, what am I really good at? What have my clients told me they appreciated? All that. What's the core mission, the value add, how I can pitch that? No. I did all that, and that was 10 times more successful. That worked out a lot better, because it's like the stairs thing, I was doing the first few steps that would get me to that vision. You would start excelling at those few steps, and then you get there. You don't start up there. So my advice for you is be strategic, be visionary. It's extremely important, extremely valuable. I'm the first to say it. I'm the first to love it. That's who I am, right? Consultant thinking, but not just consultant thinking, like in everything else, right? But don't let it cloud you. Keep that in the back burner. I know it's hard. I know it's the North Star. Keep it very valuable and precious, but focus on what you're going to do next to get there. Do not stay in the dreaming mode. Cut out again, but yeah, don't stay in the dreaming mode. Keep it in mind, keep the dream alive, because that's going to be your North Star, but don't forget about the now and what's next, the little step that's going to get you there. A friend also, later after that business coach discussion, sort of calmed me down and made me focus on the little things that can get us to a bigger thing. The little steps you have to take to get to that big ambition, which are just as important, and it's the journey, not the destination, right? Anyway, trust your business coaches, friends. They're not all frauds. No, but seriously, if you have an opportunity to speak to an external person who just so happens to be an expert or knowledgeable about something, take it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I wish you the best. Take care.